Tom, give us an update on what's going on with Silicon Valley and Credit Suisse, because a bunch of stuff came out just yesterday. You saw their stock at the beginning. The Dow was down 600, and then it ended up a couple hundred down. What's going on with the markets right now?
Well, speaking of utopia, no, overnight, it's very interesting. This can be summed up in one chart. Do you have the chart that came from Apollo? So this very interesting chart that comes out assessing the balance sheet risk of the banks. Yeah, can you pop that up a little? And the arrow up there that's toward the left side is pointing to Silicon Valley Bank. Everything to the right of Silicon Valley Bank is actually more risky and slightly worse off than the Silicon Valley Bank balance sheet was. And then if you go all the way to the left, you've got at a score of 15 JP Morgan showing strength, prudence, and, probably, the utopia banking experience there because it's risky. So what overnight has happened is that there is the realization that there is a lot of risk at a lot of banks. That's happened overnight. Right before the market closed, First Republic, remember they said that was the other bank everybody was concerned about. It has been downgraded and officially given the rating as junk. And Moody's came out and said, you're not pinning this on us. We're just going to say the whole sector is downgraded. And they downgraded the entire sector to like this questionable status. And so right now, literally, Pat, what we are waiting for the markets to show us market response to the stocks of the public banks and waiting for the other shoe to drop, because it's not just New York and it's not just SVB and it's not just First Republic. It's Credit Suisse yesterday morning coming out saying with a stock price of $2.44. So they're down the street from being delisted. I mean, they're not far away. I think it's 90 cents for so many days and something. They would be, put on a suspension and then ultimately delisted. So what's going on is there's a huge amount of uncertainty, Pat, and there's big amount of uncertainty that no one can have an opinion on. Can I show you a poll real fast?
Of course.
About what is the Fed going to do in the face of all this madness? And I put a poll on Twitter yesterday. So here's 326 votes. Do you think, and I asked a very just sensible, straightforward question, okay? Consumer price index shows inflation's about 6.5 for the year. Still a problem. And with the SVB collapse, what do you think Jerome Powell will do with interest rates when he announces them next week on the 21st, 22nd? Half a point as expected, a quarter point and be a little more gentle, or 0 and then revisit it on May 2nd, which is the next scheduled official meeting of the Fed. Look how close it was. 41% said he's going to, just do a quarter point, and 32% said a half a point, 26%. For most of the life of the poll, and this is 326 votes, and these are public people, not a bunch of banking industry folks, it stayed pretty even, which means everybody actually wasn't very sure. So we're going to find out next week, and we're watching and waiting each day, along with getting more realization, Pat, that a lot of banks have very weak balance sheets right now, and there's a lot of turmoil in the sector.
But by the way, when's the last time Moody's downgraded an entire sector the way they just did?
That's
specifically
crazy,
banking, right?
No, and I'm not exaggerating. That is what they did yesterday before the market closed. They said, okay, we're downgrading the sector.
When's the last time? Have you heard of that before? Was it like because it's 9/11 wasn't a sector, like it wasn't like 9/11 was. So it makes you think. Yesterday, I'm talking to the folks at Morgan Stanley. I'm like, so what's going on? He says, look, you can't raise 450 bibs in 12 months and not expect these banks to go through what they're going through right now. So, but here's the question. The question becomes the following. Okay, Janet Yellen, you guys bailed out those, however many people at Silicon Valley Bank with above $250,000 FDIC. So we're not bailing out Silicon Valley Bank. We're bailing out the depositors is what we're doing. Okay, fine. No problem.
Bank's going to fail, going to get sold, but we're helping the people.
Okay, no problem. Great. How many more can you handle? One more?
Right.
5 more?
It's dominoes.
10 more? 20 more? Like, I had a friend of mine. He started making, he was the top interior designer in Hollywood. He was making 1.6 every year, and I'm his advisor. He's sitting with me. I'm doing a needs analysis. I said, so tell me your expenses. How much you have in savings? I got around $500,000. Okay. How much you have in 401k? Zero. How much you have in stocks? Zero. You only have $500,000? Yes. How long you been making $1.5 million? About a decade. I said, what's your mortgage payment? Mortgage payment is $15,000 a month. Okay. What's your car payment? I got that SL 500, $2,000 a month. What that's okay, great.
Yeah, where's the money going?
Where's the money going? So watch what he says. He says, I give my mom $10,000 a month. I give my dad $10,000 a month. And my mom asked me to help his sister out, my auntie. I give her $8,000 a month. And I give my dad's brother now $8,000 a month. He was giving his family $40,000 every month.
Oh my God!
You know what ended up happening? Eventually,
the government failed.
Well, 08 happens. Once 08 took place, he goes from 1.6 to $200,000 a year. Okay.
Yeah, there's no more interiors to design.
So I'm like, so what are you doing
now?
All
the houses are done.
He's the government and he fails.
He had to make 4 phone calls. What are those 4 phone calls?
To his mom, his dad, the sister, the brother, all that.
He was the most hated man in the family. I can't believe you're doing this. I'm 80 years old. I'm da-da-da-da-da. Here's the problem. You can make one company happy, Silicon Valley Bank. You can make 2 Signature, maybe 3. Dude, you can, if this shit hits the fan and 20 banks smaller than Silicon Valley Bank that secretly are sitting here saying, don't expose us. And on top of that, they have a target of money being pulled out. How much did B of A just get? B of A, the number.
$15 billion.
$15 billion in Silicon Valley Bank fails. JP Morgan claims they got $2 billion. How many more banks after seeing something like this are saying, babe, let's take our money out? If this thing goes next level,
right,
it's going to be a scary, scary side. Janet Yellen and Biden can seem noble doing this, but these guys, very soon they're going to have to say no to somebody, and it's going to hurt.
And the rich will just get richer with these big banks.
They're
all just going to go to Wells. They're going to go to Citi. They're going to go to Chase. They're going to Bank of America. And it's going to be 4 big banks at that point.
The interior designer should have just made 1 phone call and then blamed it on that one person. Just it's mom's fault that I can't pay the rest of you.
It's the wife. You got to say, honestly, my wife wants to leave me
Moody's
if I do
downgrading an entire sector. I mean, my brother and sister and I got out of hand. My mom got Moody and downgraded all of us, but I've never seen Moody's downgrade an entire industrial sector.
And then,
I'm sure someone's going to be in the super chat and tell us. And by the way, if you know it, put it in the super chat and let us know, because I honestly don't recall.
There's the problem of perception become reality, right? If there's less of a belief that these banks are stable, that's going to encourage more and more people to have a run, and then it becomes this kind of dominant effect.
That's even worse. That's even worse.
And that was the run they tried to prevent. You're correct. They tried to. They wanted to prevent anarchy from happening, and so what they said was,
the government usually does.
We're going to protect. We're going to protect the depositors, so please don't run on the banks.
Yeah.
So it was like they took $25 billion out there to prevent $1 trillion. That was the that,
yeah.
You understand that was the play.
And then it just becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy where it's just like, no, this is happening, and then
I'm glad my money's in crypto.
Yeah, that's worked
100%.
out well for the last year.
Not 100%, but yeah.
You can't be serious, Michael Malice.
What do you mean?
You're glad your money's in crypto.
I am right now. Of course I am.
Yeah.
Right now?
Yeah.
What over the last year where it's gone down 70%?
I bought low, kept it, I hodled it, then it went down. It's still there. I'm not going to sell it when it goes down.
I will tell you, and I'm not a pro Bitcoin or an anti-Bitcoin guy. Like I'm not, during the entire, hey, can you do a sponsorship for FTX? We've never done it because I'm not, that's not my world.
Sure.
So we've never taken a sponsorship from any crypto guys, and we've gotten a lot of requests. Kind of like how you say, I'm not educated enough on the Ukraine to give it. I'm not a crypto guy to say, hey, here's what we're doing with this. But I will tell you this. If I am a Bitcoin guy, your argument right now is getting stronger. Okay? That's why Bitcoin went up 20% in a day. Went from 20 to 24,000 the other day. This is a very good time for the pro-Bitcoin folks to be selling what they're selling. The only challenge they have right now is the following is, my concern's always been, we've had Michael Saylor on a few times, and we've had a bunch of these guys. My only concern's always been that these guys going to want to regulate. So the whole CBDC, they come out there, try to regulate the crypto community, what that's going to look like. And they're going to use this crisis to say, what if this happens to crypto? What if this happens to this? They're going to figure out a way to regulate that. If they don't, I think Bitcoin's a good place to be if they don't get their hands on it. But again, we'll see what's going to happen there.
All the DeFi guys are out there saying, see, told you.
Yeah. No, by the way, exactly.
Pump.
They should say it. This is a time to say your argument. If gold pops, Peter Schiff should come out and say, I told you so. I told you so, right? It should be able to.
My big concern is that at some point, maybe you're right that they're going to have to be like, all right, we got to stop the contagion, bail it out, and then you have to get inflationary as a consequence. That's on top of the inflation that's already happened, and what that ends up screwing over is the poorest of the poor. So that is really my concern here.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.